for some time. All right. Okay, so thank you for making the time to come over lunch hour and just join us as we share some information regarding day homes and specifically regarding day homes here in Banff, because there are definitely some nuances that come with operating a day home within the national park that we'll get onto this afternoon. I was going to say this morning, but it's this afternoon. Before we get started, day homes are really about caring for children. The whole childcare system is really supporting families and local families in being able to work and live here in Banff. And so with that, I do want to acknowledge that Banff is on traditional Treaty 7 territory. And Treaty 7 is the traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, the Stoney Nakoda, including the Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney, as well as Métis District 4 in the Battle River Territories. And as we talk about raising children here and the privilege of raising children, caring for children, we're also really nurtured and cared for by the land that we are on. And there have been Indigenous peoples here from time immemorial and stewarding this place to have it be what it is today. Those include the Ktunaxa, the Secwepemc, the Mountain Cree, the Dene. And so as we move along this conversation, to consider that sense of care that we receive from working and living here on Treaty 7 territory, as well as how that affects the work and how we are within our work. So I'm going to just share my slide deck quickly. And Katie, if you could keep an eye on the chat box for me, that would be super helpful. There we go. Can everyone see that? We're good? Yeah. Shelly, okay, I can see only Shelly for whatever reason. Okay, so there we go. There we go. A bit more just on who is in our Zoom room today, besides those who are attending. So my name is Jess, my pronouns are she, her, and I am the Community Development Coordinator here at the town of Banff. I was tasked with doing a childcare needs assessment in 2024, and so I've been working on supporting some of the recommendations from that report since it was presented to council and the public earlier this year in 2025. We also have Dave. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Michaels. My pronouns are he, him. I'm the manager of planning services for the town of Banff, and so I help process development permit applications, and we'll talk a bit more about why that's relevant later on.
Great. Thanks, Dave. And then we also have Shelly.
I'm Shelly Gregorish. My pronouns are she, her. I am the child development consultant with Bow Valley Family Childcare Agency and the Devar Childcare Society.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelly and Dave, for being here. Shelly and Dave have a wealth of knowledge specifically about day homes and then also kind of the licensing and residency requirement piece that I don't have as much knowledge on. So I really appreciate you both coming to share some of that with the group today. So why is this session being offered? As I mentioned, in 2024, a childcare needs assessment was done, and that is specific to Banff. I know Canmore did one in 2023, and Banff did one in 2024. And one of the things that we heard during that engagement with the public was that people had questions about day homes. And also we heard that there was some confusion about, are they eligible to be in the park? Can you have a day home in the town of Banff, and what are the intricacies that are involved with that? And so we thought that having an info session here to help share some of that knowledge and also myth bust some of the things maybe people had some confusion about would be helpful. And in fact, one of the recommendations from the childcare needs assessment was to actively reduce barriers to establishing more day homes in Banff. So we are hoping that indeed this session and being able to share the recording of this session will help folks understand a little bit more about what is involved in the operation of a day home and understand if that might be an opportunity for them to pursue. So a little bit about day homes themselves. The government of Alberta oversees licensed childcare within the province. And there are a couple different types of childcare. So there is what we would call facility-based care, and that includes daycares, preschools, and out-of-school club programs. And then we have home-based care, which is where day homes fall under. Currently, we have 4 different licensed childcare providers here in Banff. So the town of Banff, the municipality, oversees the out of school club program that is for school age children in grades or kindergarten to grade 6. So school age care there. And the Daycare Society of Banff has 2 different childcare programs, one puzzles and the other being the Banff Childcare Center. They provide early years licensed childcare, and then finally, we have Bow Valley Family Childcare, which Shelley oversees here in the Bow Valley. We're going to talk a little bit more about the day homes and day home system here in Banff in a minute, but I do want to mention that our licensed preschool program, the Banff Frontal Play School, has also adjusted their hours recently. So for this September and this school year ahead, they have been offering full day care from 8:30 till 3:15 or 3:45, I believe, in the afternoon. So that does offer parents an opportunity to have their child in preschool, and does give another option for care during their operational hours. So I'm going to pass it over to Shelley just to talk a little bit more about Bow Valley Family Childcare and what they offer.
Thanks, Jess. So the history goes back quite a ways for Devar Childcare Society. It was actually established in 1982 in Calgary. It was a small organization at the time, and but they, over time they grew to encompass a daycare supports program and a day home agency within the city of Calgary, and they currently now oversee our agency as well, Bow Valley Family Childcare. In 2006, a needs assessment was done by the province that determined that more childcare was needed in the Bow Valley, it doesn't seem like we can meet that need no matter how much we try. There always seems to be more. In 2007, after a submissions process, Devar Childcare Society was awarded the contract to operate Bow Valley Family Childcare. And we had hoped really to ease the demand for childcare, providing families with some choices, and since then there has been, other 2 other daycares in the valley have been opened, one in Banff, one in Canmore, like extra ones, as well as the day home agency. But as I just mentioned, it's never really been enough. You just need more and more. The purpose of Bow Valley Family Childcare was to provide that care in the Bow Valley from, say, Lake Louise to Kananaskis. But since 2007, the contract has grown to include Cochrane, Airdrie, High River, and Okotoks. My role as a child development consultant concentrates on the Bow Valley and Cochrane. We currently have 7 day homes, with only one in Banff at this time. But that day home in Banff has been operating since 2007. So long term, which we are fortunate. We are quite fortunate to have. Yeah. Is that it, Jess? You need me to tell you more?
Maybe you could just share a little bit about how Bow Valley Family Childcare and your role specifically supports people who might be interested to open and operate a day home, and then kind of what that operational oversight looks like.
Sure. So if someone were wanting to open a day home or were interested in finding out more, I would come to their home and provide them with some paperwork, of course, that they would have to complete, such as criminal record checks, little information about their family and how that they see themselves operating a day home. We would then provide them with assistance in setting up their home. A lot of people think that they've got a really small space, or they've only got they don't have a separate room or anything like that. And that's just not the case. They don't need to. They, it's surprising how we make things work. We have a day home that is fairly small. It's just a small apartment, but the educator makes it work by, just strategically putting a bookshelf in a spot where toys can be kept, and a day home itself is supposed to be within the home. It doesn't have to be a separate room for everything. It can be just as if you are caring for children within your home, using your kitchen, your living room, the bedroom. It's really quite easy, and my role is to show you how that can work. We do help make your home safe, or provide you with suggestions and ideas on how to make it safe. We provide equipment such as high chairs, booster seats, sleep mats, safety gates, so that you don't have to go out and buy these things. And they are on loan until you no longer need them. We also provide liability insurance, where it's just a minimal cost of $2 per child each month, plus $1 for yourself. And that liability insurance is up to $4 million. We also lend out learning through play kits, resources on child development. Through us, you can attend workshops and conferences, and take childcare courses, early childhood courses that you can receive some reimbursement for. We collect childcare fees from the families enrolled, and then pay the educator, so that the educator doesn't have to worry about trying to track down parents, that they can, that they just focus on providing care for those children, and just providing overall support, I guess. Oh, I forgot referrals. We do referrals. We have a long wait list, and we do provide referrals to parents when a spot opens up, so that they can find childcare as well.
That's awesome, Shelley. Some of those things I definitely didn't know about, how you can support like the supplies and things like that. That really helps people with the costs in startup and operations. So awesome to know. And you also do some kind of advocacy and community partnership work. I know previously, we'll speak to the challenges of operating a day home in a minute, but I know that you have been involved in speaking with condo boards and things like that, where other organizations or bodies might have questions, or not maybe permit day homes in their space, and helping to really provide some education and support in that way as well.
Yes, and we also belong to the Alberta Family Child Care Association as well, and so then educators have access to that association with their resources and supports, as well as our own support. So yes, we try.
Awesome.
We try. We've got those connections with the various organizations within the communities, but also within Alberta.
Maybe we'll move on a little bit to, why would someone want to start a day home? You've worked with a lot of folks over the years, Shelley. What are some of the maybe incentives or perks or benefits that someone might attract someone to start this?
Okay, so I wanted to just get a little more information from my own educators that I've got right now, because they've all got various reasons on why they decided to start a day home. But some of the prevalent ones were, that they wanted to stay at home with their own children, but also make an income. They wanted to provide their children with an opportunity for socialization within their home.
Mm.
Some actually couldn't find childcare themselves.
Mhm.
And so they chose to open a day home in their own space to be able to have that childcare, provide, be with their children as well as the income. And then others just, they wanted to kind of be their own boss. So
Mhm.
they wanted to operate their own program and be self-employed and benefit from that.
Mhm.
And then why they chose to join the agency, they wanted it for stability and provides peace of mind to the families that they were providing for. There's also extra wage top-up funding that provides them with extra income. They wanted to be able to provide families with subsidized fees, and
Mhm.
so through an agency, then parents are not paying as much as well.
Mhm.
And then the last thing I just wanted to point out is that some educators are saying that this way they didn't feel like they were alone in providing the care, that they had a community of other educators they could go to, but also feel the support from the agency and I guess and myself, just because I do go into the homes once a month to see if they have any supports. I'm in contact with them just to see, how things are going, and I'm here whenever they're having some difficulties with something or other, that I can listen and try to help where I can.
Yeah, so lots of benefits from like a really supportive environment to that autonomy and keeping your child at home and be able to socialize them. So quite a few benefits there. On the flip side of that, maybe what are some of the top challenges that you see as someone who helps to support and oversee day homes?
Well, that can be difficult as well. But yeah, the challenges of opening a day home can be from not getting permission from the condo board, not getting permission from your landlord. So that can be difficult for them to want to open, or being allowed to open a day home is more like it. We do not require that they own their own home, um, but um, but they do need to have some permission to open a day home if they are in a condo or renting, because we don't want to be opening a day home, have families uh, come in and start their care only to find out that they weren't allowed to and that they have to close. So we want to make sure that we're sort of covering all the bases before they open. As a day home educator too, it can be lonely unless you do make some of those connections with other educators. So that can be difficult from that standpoint. But you do get to set, I should say, you do get to set your own hours, and you do get to decide what days of the week you want to operate. In the Valley, we only have educators operating 4 days a week. So they're either operating Monday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday. And a couple of the educators have chosen to just operate Tuesday to Thursday. So, you have a wide range of choices of how you want to set up your workday.
And you do you also, correct me if I'm wrong, you have choice in regards to age, at what age of child you might accept?
Yes, you can decide what ages you want to accept. However, There are some ratios that you have to abide by. So you cannot have more than 3 children under the age of 3, where only 2 of them can be under the age of 2.
Right. Because I know our current childcare offerings in Banff only have children entering the childcare system at 12 months. But if I were a day home operator, I could choose to take children or a child or two of 10 months. Is that correct?
That's correct. There is no guideline. We just, as a consultant, we just want to make sure that you can handle it. Mm-hmm. And if you've got the supports and the equipment that you need, it shouldn't be an issue. But it is few and far between finding childcare for children under the age of 2.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shelley. I know one of the challenges that we had seen, and maybe some areas that are a bit murky that we heard in the 2024 Childcare Needs Assessment, were specific to day home operation in Banff National Park, and really more specifically talking about the Parks Canada residency requirements. But before we get on to Dave speaking about that, maybe I'll just have Katie. Katie, I see your hands up if you had a question, or so maybe there was a question in the chat box.
Just a couple of questions, thank you. Shelley, you were speaking to some folks do a Tuesday to Thursday or a Monday to Thursday, or whatever that looks like, and there's that kind of flexibility around setting the schedule as a day home owner. Is there a particular amount of hours a day home owner has to hit to become a licensed day home?
There is not.
Okay.
There is not a number of hours that they need to operate.
That's really helpful then.
Yeah, I mean, but the provincial fees that are paid to the educators are based on whether they have 100 hours or more, or 99 hours and less. Okay. So it really depends on that, and so parents would pay less if it's always under 99 hours, and pay more if it's 100.
Okay, thank you so much, Shelley. I've got a couple more questions, and Megan has a question also, if you don't mind. You carry on.
I'm just curious about pets in the home, and if that is like, can you have pets in the home with a day home?
You can have pets in the home. If it's your typical cat, dog, we just ask that they maintain an updated vaccination based on the requirements for the local from the local vets. And if it's a reptile, then the reptile needs to be in a locked cage.
That's great. Thank you, Shelley. Just a couple more questions, if you have a moment before we move on. Can anyone open a day home, or is there restriction around, do you have to be an early childhood educator, level 1, level 2, etc.?
Good question. Yeah. So you do not have to have your level 1 to open a day home. However, you're given 6 months to get your level 1. And you can get your level 1 online with a 50-hour free course. And you've got 6 months to do that. And if you can do it within the 6 months, then you would be awarded your level 1 certificate, and then you would get a top-up wage based on that level.
And Shelley, is that online, sorry, Katie, is that online course available to more than just Canadian citizens now? Because I know back in the day, you could only take the online course if you were a Canadian citizen, but I wasn't sure if now, if you are a temporary foreign worker, or just getting your permanent residency, or what kind of citizenship status you might have to take that course.
That's a really good question, and I can't answer it. I don't know.
No worries.
I'd have to look into it again. It's been quite some time, but yeah, I'd like to hope so, but I can't answer yes or no on that.
Yeah, there is for those of you who are interested in looking, there is a childcare certification guide online. So if you were to Google Alberta childcare certification, I do know that the eligibility for the online courses is listed in there. And so folks can find that easily. Katie, did you have another question, or Megan?
One last question,
Okay,
if
sure.
that's okay.
Yeah, no worries.
And this one, I think, Shelley, you're going to say, how long's a piece of string? What can a day home owner expect to earn? Because I appreciate there's a spectrum depending on like top up. What other factors are involved in that? Obviously, how many hours someone wants to operate.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it certainly does depend on how many children are in care each month, and what level of care or what level of certification that they have. So right now, educators are paid, and this is just as of April 1st, as the province announced this. It's $1,184 a month per child in care for full-time care, so that's 100 hours or more, or it's $1,334 for a child under the age of 19 months full-time. If they're part-time, then the fees are $770 a month for under 100 hours for children 19 months and over, or $867 a month part-time for under 100 hours if the child is under 19 months.
Okay.
So then, oh, sorry.
So I was just going to say, it's really helpful hearing all these breakdowns. It's great information.
Okay, good. I was just going to add about what the top-up wage is. So if you are a level 1, then you receive $2.64 an hour on top of the fees that the province will pay. $5.05 an hour if it's a level 2, if you have a level 2 on top of the childcare fees. And then finally, if you're a level 3, then it's $8.62 an hour.
Great. Thanks, Shelley. Thanks for the great questions too, Katie and Megan. That's super, super helpful. There'll be more time for questions too. So if anything else pops up, please let us know. We're going to move on to Dave's area of expertise. So coming back to that childcare needs assessment, again, we just had a lot of questions and murky waters around the residency requirements that Parks Canada has in relation to day home operation, and what does that mean for Banff residents. So I'm going to pass it along to Dave, and maybe Dave, you can speak to Parks Canada's residency requirements as they relate to day home operation and as a home occupation or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jess. So home occupations are regulated through our land use bylaw. So that's really the regulations that set out when people can operate a business or an activity from a residential property that isn't just that's where somebody lives. And so anybody that does something that isn't just them living there, they need a change of use, or they need a permit through our land use bylaw to allow that activity to happen. So with a home occupation, which is what family day homes fall into, you do need a permit to do that. And in order to do that, you have to provide confirmation that you are an eligible resident of Banff National Park. So every residential property, in order to live there, you have to be an eligible resident, whether you operate a business or not. But in order to operate a day home or any home occupation, you need to provide confirmation that you meet those eligible residency requirements through some other means. The operation or operating a day home doesn't provide eligible residency. So that's not counted as a way to meet those requirements. So most people meet eligible residency requirements in one of two ways. Either their primary employment is in the park, and so that might be that you're operating a day home part-time, but the rest of the time maybe you have a serving job, maybe you have some other job that you do in Banff or within the national park. Or most commonly, you're a spouse or a common law partner of an eligible resident who does work in the park. So, for instance, if your partner works at a business, you meet eligible residency requirements through them as their common law or spouse. So that's how most people meet eligible residency requirements. There are some others. If you retire in Banff because you've worked for 5 years prior to retirement. There isn't an age for retirement. You just have to have worked 5 years prior to. That also provides eligible residency as well. But like I said, most people meet eligible residency requirements either because they already work somewhere in Banff or they're the partner of somebody who works somewhere in Banff.
Great. So if just to be clear, so if I was a single person and I wanted to operate a day home full time and that was the only thing I was doing, I wasn't retired, and I also didn't have a partner at all and no part-time job, I actually don't meet the residency requirements for Parks Canada. Is that correct?
Yes, unless you've worked for 5 years prior to, then you might meet the retirement. I don't want to guess your age, Jess. You don't look like a typical retirement age. However, there is no age requirement to retire
Okay.
in Banff. You just have to have worked 5 years prior to that quote unquote retirement.
Okay, so I could retire. I could be eligible
Yeah,
for retirement right
yes,
now.
you could be eligible for retirement, Jess. Yes.
Amazing. I see Katie's got her hand up. Katie, you have a question for Dave?
Megan
Or
does, thank
Megan?
you.
So in terms of that date, like for example, I've worked in town for 6 years now. Do I have to do something to like pledge retirement, or am I just like grandfathered in and I am considered retired at Banff?
So, in order to provide confirmation to the town, in order to get your home occupation license, you have to fill in a form with Parts Canada. And so you have to provide Parts Canada the information that backs that up. So, for instance, if your current employment is in Banff, you would have to probably provide some paychecks or a letter from your employer. If you were retiring, they would want to see some confirmation that for the past 5 years you have been employed in Banff. And so they would want to see some evidence of that. And so that's up to a conversation between you and Parks Canada to provide them the information that they need to be satisfied that you meet those requirements. And typically, yes, pay stubs from the last 5 years, something like that, would probably be enough to satisfy that requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dave. I know too, you, Dave, do not oversee Parks Canada's residency requirements. You just have the intel on it, which I appreciate. Do you know, if I filed retirement papers with Parks and I was approved to retire, can I unretire later?
Yeah, in order to confirm eligible residency, Parks Canada will ask for whatever proof at the time that you're applying, or you need that confirmation that you meet the eligible residency requirement. So yes, it does happen where people maybe retire, but then maybe they also decide actually they do want to go back to work, and so will then get a job. And again, they meet eligible residency requirements, maybe not because they're retired anymore, but because their primary employment is within the park.
Awesome, thanks. So really, to clarify, Parks Canada oversees the residency requirements piece and the eligibility for that. And that residency requirement is part of the home occupation license that the town of Banff then would oversee.
Yeah, absolutely. So in order to operate a day home, you need a permit from us, a home occupation permit. And one of the submission requirements for that application is this form from Parks Canada that shows that they've reviewed you and your eligible residency requirements, and they sign off to tell you that they've reviewed the information, determined that you meet the eligible residency requirements. And that's all we look for, is just that form authorized and signed by Parks Canada.
Thanks. So that's super helpful, Dave. So if I were ready to go, I think I'm going to check all the boxes for parks, and Shelly's connected with me and my house looks good, and I'm complying with the provincial legislation for licensed childcare that's being provided out of a home. Where would I start with the municipal process? If I walk through town hall doors, who would I go to start my home occupation journey, I guess you could say?
Yeah, you don't even need to walk through our doors, Jeff. From the comfort of your couch, you can search banff.ca, and in the search bar, if you just put home occupation, that will pull up the application form. And there is some information in there. Home occupations cover a variety of types of businesses or something. You might have a desk job where you work from home. Maybe you're a freelance accountant or something like that, but it also includes family day homes. And there are rules and requirements around home occupations, but some of those don't apply to family day homes. So, for instance, if you to operate like a home office type business, you're limited to the maximum floor area that is associated with that business. That doesn't apply for a family day home. You can use all of your property in relation to that day home activity. And so there are some of the other requirements as well that don't apply, but that application form has information on home occupations in general. And so you submit that home occupation application along with your confirmation of eligible residency form. That's something you can get from the local field unit. Again, they can be found if you search the Banff Realty office. You will find information. They also are housed at the admin building at the end of Banff Avenue, so you can go there to get that form, and they review it. So that's part of the submission requirements. We also ask for kind of plans of your home, just to kind of show us the layout. These can be pretty simple drawings. They don't need to be done by an architect or anything like that. Just some graph paper from the dollar store would be fine, and just show us the layout of your home and how you intend to operate it. And then the other thing that we ask is that the application form is signed by the owner. So that's the person that, if you're the owner yourself, but more likely if you rent the property, it's whoever you rent that property from. So as Shelley was mentioning, sometimes if you're in an apartment building or a condo, there might be specific requirements that make that a challenge, but that also starts those or triggers those conversations you can have with the property owner to let them know, and we need to see that that confirmation has been provided, and they can either sign the application form or just provide a letter in writing of support of the application.
Thanks. And if I needed some support with the application process, because there was something I had questions about or wasn't quite sure about, who would I be reaching out to have some support there?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kerry McInnes from our office can help with any applications for a home occupation, support you through filling in the application form, and can let you know. There is a small application fee of $150 for any home occupation, but that's the only application fee that you need. When you submit the application to us, it usually takes us about 4 to 6 weeks to review that application. And then we issue what's called a notice of decision, which is saying you've conditionally been approved to operate your day home or your home occupation. And then there's a required 21-day notice period where somebody could appeal that decision, although we don't typically find that happens, especially if you've had conversations with your landlord or other people. If you're in a shared building and let other people know, then usually there aren't appeals to those types of things, and it's a pretty straightforward process. So about 6 to 8 weeks from when you submit the application to the time when we can give you an actual permit that gives you the authorization from our standpoint of you being able to operate. Obviously, you need to do other licensing things with the other bodies, but we're not associated with that.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. That's super helpful. I know that people had a lot of questions around residency requirements. And I know sometimes people think the town of Banff oversees the residency requirements, or what people call the need to reside, which actually isn't the case. It is Parks Canada. So it's great to have some information to kind of delineate between those two.
Yeah, and there is some great, sorry, Jess, there is
No,
some
go
great
ahead.
information on the Banff Realty office that talks about eligible residency. I listed the most common. There are some other unique clauses that most people don't meet, but they have some information on their website about what the eligible residency requirements are and what sort of things they look for confirmation of those.
Amazing. That's most of our actual content we had planned, but there is some time for questions. And I have a question to start us off, maybe for you, Dave. If I was granted a home occupation license, do I have to renew that? And what is the frequency of renewing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So home occupations do require renewal every year, so require annual renewal. And then we just ask for a confirmation every year that nothing's really changed. And so, yeah, there is a renewal process that happens every year, and there is a renewal fee that goes along with that. I think it's $75 at the moment, but that's the only permit that you need. You don't need a business license for home occupations. It's just the development permit for that home occupation for family day home.
Awesome. And maybe on the flip side of that, in Shelley's world, Shelley, once you have your provincial license to be operating a day home, is there anything that Bow Valley Family Child Care or the province would ask of you on a frequent basis? And what does that kind of look like for a day home operator?
Okay. So I mean, there is monthly where we ask you to submit hours and an invoice so that we can pay you correctly. We do ask that you do a program plan, at least monthly, just based on the children's interests. What kind of things are you doing? If you choose to provide meals, we would want to see a menu. Those are your basic monthly ones. Then every 3 years, we do require a criminal record check, vulnerable sector check, done through the RCMP for all the adults in the home. So anyone 18 years and older we would need to see a criminal vulnerable sector check done. And every 3 years to renew your first aid and CPR. Again, just a vital thing in that regard. We do performance assessments once a year, just from my observations on what I've seen in the home and how the educator works with the children. So I just like to let them know, hey, these are the great things you're doing, or, is there anything that you want to do differently, or do you want more resources on anything specific? We try to work with you to enhance your knowledge in any way you might want to. I think that's pretty much what we're looking for from the educators, or from the educators in their day home.
Thanks, Shelley. I'll open it up to go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, Jess, I was just gonna just add something with regards to day homes and our land use bylaw that might be of interest. For a home occupation, it has to be your primary residence. So if somebody has a child, for example, and they said, hey, you can come and look after my child at my house and you can operate a day home from my house, that's not possible under a home occupation. So it does have to be your own property, where you do live. There are options to a different type of home occupation, a home occupation type 2, that does allow somebody to operate a family day home that doesn't live at the property. That's a slightly different process, takes a little bit longer to process, and it's not allowed in every residential land use district, whereas home occupations, if it's your house, that typically is. But just a reminder in that it has to be your home, and you can be the only person that operates it or runs that business, unless the other person also lives with you. So if you are a couple, for example, the home occupation does allow you to both work at there, as long as you both live at that residence.
Thanks for sharing that, David. Just to clarify, so my primary residence can be a rental, though. I don't have to be the owner to have it be my primary residence. I can be a renter, and that is my primary residence, and then I would qualify for that specific home occupation license.
Yeah, exactly. As long as that is your primary residence.
Great.
I'd like to add to what Dave said, because provincial standards state that a day home can only be in a location where you live. So, you cannot go to somebody else's home to operate a day home. It would have to be operated by the person who lives there.
Great, super helpful. I'll open up to the floor if anyone has questions for Shelley or Dave. Maybe me, but I don't seem to be the hub of intel. I'm just hosting. But does anyone else have a question? Go ahead and just unmute yourself and feel free to share your question.
Hi. So I have a question. If our family member want to visit in our day home, so is it possible for a few days or few months?
Great question.
Yeah. It is a good question, and it happens often, actually. So, if they're going to, if you have a family member that's coming to visit with you and stay with you, say for the next month, 2 months, or sometimes even 6, all we ask is that there be a criminal record check done, and to ensure that it is still a safe place for the children. And then we would just ask that children cannot be left alone with any other family member, even if they permanently live in the home. Children cannot be left alone with another family member for any reason. And so that, it wouldn't matter if they're visiting or not. So, yeah.
Thanks, Shelley. And to build on that question, would that criminal record check for that individual have to be processed and completed prior to them arriving at the home?
No.
Okay.
Only because it's 1 month or more, so they could get it done, while they're staying with you. However, I'm not sure if the RCMP are capable of doing a criminal record check on someone who is just visiting. So often if they're traveling from another community or another country, then they, often need to have that criminal record check done within their own community before coming.
Good to know. Great question. Does anyone else have? Katie, I see you unmuted, and then we'll go back to you 1 sec. We'll go Katie first and Megan.
A
One
couple
more
questions
question.
for Shelley, I think. Shelley, I'm curious what the timeline from the provinces right now. Like, if I started submitting stuff tomorrow, please don't get your hopes up. That's not happening. But if I were, would I expect a week, 2 weeks, 6 months?
So a lot of that actually depends on you, on how quickly you can get the paperwork done, and when we have the meetings because I have to meet everybody in the home at least once, and so it would depend on the timing and how all the other paperwork is done. If you've got your criminal record check done and submitted to me, and everything else is in place, and your home has been safetied. I've had educators start their day home within 3 weeks, and I've had educators who have taken 6 months. So it's all, a lot of it is your timeline.
Thanks, Shelley. I think we had another question as well. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I have another question. In case if we want to go outside of country for 1 month or 2 months, in that case, what happened to the kids?
Right. So we do our best to provide alternate care for the families that are in your home at that time. Based on the fact that there is a high need, a high demand in the valley, it is difficult to find alternate care, but from time to time we are successful with a few ages here and there. So alternate care basically means that we will let the families know about some other day homes in the area that have a spot available, and then the family would then go to that day home if they choose to. Now, certainly right now, there's only the one in Banff. So there are no other choices within Banff at this moment. But some families that are using the Banff Day Home are coming to Canmore to bring their children into care for alternate care at that time. And if we can get more in Banff, then they might have a choice. Yeah, it just really depends. But we do our best to try and find that spot for families.
Thank you.
And Shelley, is there a particular period of time that if you did not provide care, so if I went on an extended leave, I took a half a year to go traveling or 3 months to go traveling, is there a period of time at which you would have to restart the process or go through other kind of inspections or meeting some other expectations to reopen, or no?
Yeah, a good question. So, if it was 6 months, within 3 months to 6 months, we would do a home safety inspection to ensure that everything was ready and in place to restart. That would be fine. If it was a year or more, then we would probably ask for pertinent information to be resubmitted, such as the criminal record checks, and then ask, is anything going to change in regards to your menu, your hours of operation, things like that. So we would be asking for extra things just to make sure that those, that everything was still in place and ready to go.
Awesome, thanks. Any other question? Oh, Katie and Megan.
All right, I have two more quick. Shelley, you mentioned quickly about whether you were providing meals or not. Are meals not a requirement for a day home?
It is not.
Okay, I assumed it was. That's good to know.
So we do have some day homes that are providing 2 snacks a day and a lunch. We also have a day homes where they provide the snacks and parents bring the lunch. And we also have where they don't provide anything at all and parents provide lunch and snacks.
Okay, that's interesting.
I do want to add that the province has made some changes as of April, and so if an educator chooses to charge a supplemental fee to parents for meals, they are well within their right to do that, and but the educator then is responsible for collecting those fees and are responsible for documenting what they collect. And then they have to submit that to us, that we then submit to the province.
Okay. Thank you. Last question from me. I understand that there is a big wait list and a big need for childcare in our community. You were saying families go through you. Are private referrals also a thing, or does it kind of go down a wait list?
It's both. So, a lot of sometimes it's word of mouth, and parent, one parent has mentioned to another parent, well, you really need to try this day home. And then the parent contacts that day home directly. And that is completely fine. As an educator, it is completely up to you to decide who comes into your home and who doesn't. And I can give a referral. I can give a referral to a parent and say, okay, contact this educator. She has space. But the educator is thinking, I'm not sure that this is a good fit. It could be the age of the child, or it could be anything, to be honest. But it's completely up to the educator, who is considered self-employed, to determine who comes into the day home and who doesn't, and who they will take and who they won't.
That's even helpful just in terms of like siblings. If it's like a friend has one that's the same age but one old, like it's just good to know. So thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks, Shelley. Any other questions from the group here? I know Tiffany had to leave early. She did tell me she had to leave early, but maybe no. Great. Well, thank you so much. I think all these questions have really infused the conversation with so much information. And so I appreciate all of you sharing those questions. And thank you to Shelley and to Dave for sharing their intel on this. If there are further questions, please do reach out. You can reach out to Shelley. Her email is below here, or you can reach out to myself and I will find you the answer, probably via Dave or Shelley. But please do share the recording. So once this session is finished, recording will be sent out to those who have attended. If you have folks who are looking for that information, please just shoot me a message and I'd be happy to share the recording because it might be just a little bit before they get it up online potentially, but eventually it will be posted online at one of the banff.ca, hopefully banff.ca/childcare when that site is finished building. It will be available there for viewing at any time. Shelley?
Sorry, I just wanted to add one more thing.
Sure.
And that is that is, if you've got any kind of questions about whether or not you can do this in your space or in your home, or if you qualify or anything like that, like, just don't hesitate to contact me, because we're trying to open day homes. We want to try and work with you. It could be your space you're not sure about, or it could be your qualifications, which could easily be, if you went to college or university, it could be one course that you have taken in your past that would qualify you as a level 1. So I don't want anybody to feel discouraged in any way, because we really try to work really hard with you just to get to help you be successful in opening a day home.
Thanks for that, Shelley. It's such a blessing to have Bow Valley Family Childcare and you here locally to be able to support that process and have an open door for anyone who ever is seeking some support and answers. So I appreciate that. Thank you again. And thank you, Dave, for coming and sharing your information with us. It's really valuable in understanding the whole scope of the process if someone was looking to have a day home here in Banff. And indeed, please share this. If you don't catch our emails and you didn't get the recording right away, and just give Town Hall a call, and you can ask to talk to someone about childcare at day homes, and they will definitely point you in the right direction. So thank you again for sharing your time, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so
everyone.
much. Bye.